long hours to try to put a resolution to this.
It's a very good group, the search and rescue, and the river patrol. They also have La Crosse County up helping, Black River Falls, Houston County had moved out today, so a lot of people involved.
Al, did you have something?
Yeah, just a question on the report of the homecoming weekend. How does that compare with past homecoming weekends in your records?
Fairly typical with recent years, I would say. I did have a conversation with Dr. Olson today, and that's one of the things we'll be communicating about as well for next year.
Okay, Jerry?
I was going to bring it up at council concerns with Chief while you're up there. I watch the parade at the same spot every year. It's always by Mugby Junction. And in the past, your officers attempted to push the crowd back, but that's like herding cats or pushing smoke. You know, they'll put 10 people back, and by about halfway through the parade, they were already past the center line of the street. And it seems like it gets worse every year, and there's a bunch of little kids there, a lot of candy. It's a matter of time before somebody gets hurt. I know other towns have had that. So doing away with candy won't work. Roping off that entire area of Huff Street will not work. It'd be at WSU's expense, but we have a year. If one of your guys, maybe whomever, community policing or whatever, would also talk to Joe Reed.
Definitely.
That's something to think about next year. There may not be a solution to it, but I think it's a matter of time before a kid gets a foot run over. Those big vehicles could not see.
Yeah, and we can certainly talk about that between now and then too, and
Yeah,
try to see if they can
appreciate
get more
that.
volunteers out to help.
Could we move it to Broadway, wider street?
I don't know, but due to how narrow the street is, that's the problem. But I think the enthusiasm of that particular crowd, would crowd no matter how wide the boulevard may be. So I don't know if it can be fixed, but something's going to happen.
Anybody else have anything for the chief? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just want to mention also that I was downtown on Sunday, and it was good to see all the organized Winona State students going around and cleaning up the downtown. They were there with trash bags, and it was some kind of an organized effort. And I don't know who was doing it, but thank you for doing it. And I also want to mention that next Friday night is the Main Street Program's Progressive Dinner, and I think you can still buy tickets if you call the Chamber of Commerce. I know there's going to be at 3 places. I think the Oaks Wine Bar, Nate and Alley's for dessert, and I think the Wesley Methodist Church is part of it, if I'm not mistaken. And last, I'd like to just give my sympathies to Councilman Thurley on the passing of his mother-in-law, Ruth Anderson, and your wife, Bonnie.
Thank you.
And that's all I have. City Manager?
Your Honor, just one thing to let the council know. In response to the strength of the membership at the Friendship Center and also outcomes from the Engage Winona project, a group is formed to to take a look at the future of the Friendship Center, a community center type of outreach, and members of this community center committee or group that we're calling them, they went up and visited 4 sites up in the metro area, just to get a look at what other communities are doing, not only architecturally but also from a programming standpoint. They're going to take this information back and synthesize it, and also continue on with surveying members and other members of the community to ask what folks really are interested in. This is going to be a long-range approach to what we might do long-term for the community as far as a intergenerational community center, or perhaps they stay where they're at and just move some of their programming around. But I just want to make council aware that this group has formed and they're operating and taking on a pretty big challenge for us. Still a long ways away, but they've started work on it, and looking forward to seeing what they come up with in the months to come.
Okay. Thank you. Roll call?
Mayor Peterson.
Here.
Councilman Thurley.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Alexander. Iden.
Here.
Worzakowski.
Here.
Double.
Here.
Under the required public hearings, item 2.1, the proposed liquor license fees for 2017.
Public hearing, I'll declare it open and ask if there's anybody here that wishes to speak. Anybody in the audience wish to address this? One more time, anybody here to speak to this issue? Guess not. Close the public hearing. And,
I would move to introduce the attached ordinance.
I'll second it.
okay, there's a motion by Pam, seconded by Jerry. Discussion?
Just a comment, Mayor and other council members, I follow other communities over the years, and, you know, the liquor license fee is basically all over the board. And one of the articles I saw just the other day was that in Montana, for example, the state controls the liquor industry. And they have a limited number of liquor licenses. And in Montana, the cost of a single operating entity for a liquor license is going for $350,000 because of the scarcity. And I think the ordinance before us is very reasonable in comparison with that.
I would say it is.
Yes.
You're
Is that
not
a one-time fee, or that's not, or is that an annual fee?
That's the cost of purchasing a license.
Just getting a license, okay.
Right,
Well, Rochester's incredibly expensive as well
Right.
because there's a finite number.
right, exactly.
All right, anybody else? George?
Now, according to city charter, years ago, or it was voted on, we do not limit our liquor licenses, correct?
Right.
That's correct. There was a referendum in the mid-'70s.
Okay.
And it's been brought up for quite a bit of discussion, not just two or three people talking about it, but twice now in the last 3 decades. I know it's been, really looked at to, we want it to be one of those towns that limits the number, and we just let it go the way it was decided in the mid-'70s.
And if I can add, the idea is not so much having the opportunity, but to allow the license to not be a part of the cost of doing business. And, in some places, it is a cost of doing business, and it tends to be very onerous. And I know, our current license holders are concerned about the amount we charge, but the point is to have a restaurant so you can serve beverages along with food is, I think, very fair in Winona as opposed to other places in the country.
Okay. Anything else? Not? We'll vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
6-1.
5-1.
5-1, yeah, Michelle's good.
And item 2.2, levy assessments for the 2016 sidewalk replacement project.
I'll move to.
That's
Well,
public
it's another
hearing.
public hearing. I'll declare the public hearing open and ask if there's anybody here that wants to speak to this issue. Again, anybody want to speak to this sidewalk replacement issue? Last chance, anybody here? Hearing none. Close the public hearing. Ask if there's a motion. I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Paul, seconded by Pam. Any discussion on this? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Item 2.3 is a public hearing to levy assessments for the 2016 Grand Street reconstruction project.
Declare the public hearing open and ask if anybody's here to speak to that issue. Anybody here wish to speak to the issue of the Grand Street reconstruction project? Last chance. Anybody here want to speak to the Grand Street reconstruction project? Hearing none. Public hearing's closed. Is there a motion?
I would Move to adopt the attached resolution to levy the assessments.
Second.
Motion by Pam, seconded by George. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 2.4 is to levy assessments for the 2016 miscellaneous utilities project.
Another public hearing. Declare this public hearing open and ask if anybody here wants to speak to the miscellaneous utilities project assessments. Anybody want to speak to the assessments for the 2016 miscellaneous utilities project? Last chance. Hearing none. Declare the public hearing closed.
Move to adopt the attached resolution.
Second.
Motion by Jerry, seconded by George. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
And under the petitions, requests, and communications, item 3.1 is the reappointments to the Planning Commission of Ed Hahn, Mandy Olson, and Greg Porter.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion by Jerry and seconded by Paul. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.2 is a request for utility fee reduction for the property at 105 Lennox Street. Is Mr. Hahn present?
Mr. Hahn here? I guess not. Is there a motion? Anybody want to make a motion? I guess not. Dies for lack of a motion.
Item 3.3 is a High Street closure request for St. Matthew's Lutheran Church trunk or treat event.
Move to approve that request.
Second. Motion by George, seconded by Paul. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Under unfinished business, item 4.1, request for 10-minute parking zone on East Wabasha Street. And I believe the petitioner is here, Deborah Schaefer.
Okay. This is a carryover from our last meeting. I guess I'll ask if there's a motion first.
I would move to approve the attached ordinance.
Second that.
Motion by George, seconded by Pam. Any discussion? Did you want to say anything? Okay. Leave well enough alone. Al?
Well, yeah, I guess I'm in agreement with the explanation I think I brought up earlier about, two spots versus one. But as I've looked at this, in the time frame that we're allowing this, it may run afoul of our alternate side parking ordinance, so that vehicles that are legally parked in those spaces overnight would then be in violation because the alternate side parking is at 6 o'clock in the morning, and this is from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. I guess, yeah, I'd
Would
like
you
to
like to
hear what.
address that?
I have, I'm up at 4:30 in the morning, I have kids at 5:15 in the morning.
Okay,
Is when I start, and I'm done at 5 o'clock at night. Is when, kids are there till 5:15. I don't know how else, that's my hours, I don't know
Okay.
how else to do it.
in your, residence in that area, has there been a lot of alternate side parking on your side of the street, or has that been an issue in the past?
I have more, the thing, that the vehicles left there from the, high and low from down the street.
Mm-hmm.
I have more problem with that, cars
Yeah.
being left to the next day. And then they're picked up 6, 7, 8, what time they have to get to work, I imagine.
Okay.
Yeah, that they're picking up in the morning.
When they remember where they parked the night before.
Is where I have, more of the problem with that way.
Yeah. I'm willing to support this, given the explanation, and, we certainly need to look into this, or at least examine it going forward if that's an issue. But I think, your safety issue is, an issue here, and I think I'm willing to go along with that.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other discussion? I guess we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. You got it.
Under new business, item 5.1 is the extension of the lease agreement for the Boathouse Restaurant.
I would move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Pam, seconded by Jerry. Discussion? I guess I'd just like to say that, I'm sure there'll be some good discussion about finding a way to work with the current owners here and work out a longer-term agreement.
Well, and I'm supportive of the one-year agreement because we're going to make some, we're supposedly going to make some changes in the whole Levy Park area. And I think that having this a 12-month lease is good for future options. I'm willing to go along with the one-year lease.
Right, well, this is just for a month.
No, it's,
A
This
month
would
and
be
a
to
half.
November
Yeah.
30th.
So it'll be coming back to us for possibly
yeah.
a year
okay.
extension.
Okay, yeah.
Any other discussion? Guess there isn't any, so we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.2 is the deed cleanup grant application.
I would move to approve the resolution of authorizing the application for the cleanup grant.
Second.
Motion by Pam and seconded by George. I guess I have a question. This funds 75% of it. The other 25% is funded by the property owner or the city?
property owner.
Property owner, okay. All right. Just making sure, I guess. Any other questions?
Well, could we have a little explanation of what is being cleaned up here?
Yes, Mayor and members of council, the site at 1124 West Fifth Street, which is the former headquarters of Windcraft. As you know, they built a new facility and also moved their headquarters to Mark Street. And as the building was on the market, ready to be sold, some work was done of phase one. And the below the slab of the building, in the soil, there are some issues they found in the phase one. So what the mitigation effort is, it's easiest way to explain it is similar to a radon system where you have piping and fans to mitigate that. So the companies worked closely with an environmental consultant and MPCA, and this would help implement that mitigation system. And the cost in your item says $110,000. And today I received the estimate that was confirmed, and it's actually $140,000. So the application would be for 75% or $105,000.
It used to be a body shop, I believe, there at one point, so there was probably solvents and things back in the day that used to be able to be allowed going in there. And as Lucy said, that when Windcraft bought the land and built over it, they didn't create this issue, but they ended up owning the issue, which was identified when they, in turn, were looking at finding a new owner for the building. So just one of those things.
I think if you want to go way back, I think it was the Winona Wagon Company in there originally. And I'm sure there's some.
Those solvents
lead
used
paint,
by those wagons.
I'm sure there's some lead paint
Oh, yeah.
sprayed around in
Let's
there.
not make this any worse.
Okay, all right.
I think I just heard the bill go up to 160 grand.
Sorry.
They found what they found, we're cleaning it
All
up.
right, okay,
Dig any deeper.
okay.
Mayor, just,
Yes, George.
is all this area under the building, or is some of it out in the parking lot, or?
I would have to take a look at the reports. I believe that it is under the building. I'd have to look at the borings from the parking lot, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.3 is the Dementia Friendly Communities Grant application, or grant agreement.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion by Paul, and seconded by Al. Discussion.
Can they
George.
tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, Malia, would you come up and enlighten us?
Yes, Mayor and Council, good evening. The Dementia Friendly Community Action Team found out very soon when we decided to look at Winona becoming a dementia friendly community, that there were some grants out there. So we applied And we were fortunate enough to be accepted. Our grant was accepted, our grant plan. And what the Alzheimer's Association, it was coming from the Metropolitan Area Agency on Aging and the Alzheimer's Association, what they were saying about our grant application, it was an overall good proposal. We had a great action team. We had very strong letters of support from our community. We had a really good demographic and who we were going to be serving with that demographic. So this $7,000 is for phases 1, 2, and 3. And currently we're in about the 3rd phase. Once we have this kickoff, we've been calling businesses, students. We have about 30 students who are calling the different businesses. We're getting these surveys. Once we get all of that back, as much as we can get back, then we will begin analyzing, seeing where the community is at. Some of the questions are, do you have personal experience with persons with memory loss? Do you have professional experience? Do you see people coming into your business? Do you know how to interact with them? Do you know where to send them for resources in this community? So there's a number of questions, anywhere from 16 for maybe a business to 24 for people, businesses that are specifically working with persons with memory loss, long-term cares, assisted livings. So we will analyze all of that, and we'll take it back to the community and say, what do you think that we need? So this grant, the $7,000 for the first 3 phases, is helping us with the promotional. Have any of you seen our commercial on HBC? Heard me on the radio? There's been some ads in the paper. So we've done some really great promo around the kickoff event and the dementia friendly. The photocopies, the ability to purchase great hors d'oeuvres tomorrow, and we are going to take our students who are working with us, and we're going into a long-term care facility on a memory unit, and we're going to do some programming with them and eat with them, have a meal with them. So just steps are going on right now towards in the first 3 phases. Once that is done, we are eligible for the 4th phase for another $7,000. So in total, we will get $14,000 for the work that we'll be doing. Does that help?
What are the hours of this event tomorrow?
The event tomorrow is 3:30 to 5:30. Come when you can. 3:30 is our keynote speaker. I don't know if you're aware that the keynote speaker happens to be the city manager's mother. And so we're very excited that Joyce Simard is going to join us. I don't know how many books the woman has written, maybe 25, maybe more, on dementias, namaste, hospice, those kinds of things. We are just thrilled to have her coming. And 3:30 to 4:30, she'll be speaking. The Alzheimer's Association liaison, Debbie Richmond, will be here from the Minnesota, North Dakota branch, and she will be speaking. And then I will give some updates on what we're doing going forward.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Any questions for Leah, Al?
Yeah, just a comment. I mean, you mentioned, you know, the student involvement in this process, and I think we are, as a community, grateful for the resources in our community, especially for the students who are going to learn from this as we benefit from it, and then going forward, moving along these issues, and I'm appreciative. I'm looking forward to hearing, you know, the event tomorrow. So
Yes, thank you, and you hit the nail on the head. These students, this practical experience, and these kids are coming, shouldn't say that, they're young men and women, but they are coming with such passion. They want to do this, and most of them are not doing this for credit hours. They are coming of their own fruition. So they are a part of the community. We're very excited that they're helping us.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We have a motion, I believe we need to vote on, right? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
And item 5.4 is the Winona Information and Referral Program, also known as the Senior Advocate Grant.
I would motion to authorize administration to sign the agreement.
I would second that.
Okay, motion by George, seconded by Pam. Discussion?
Where do these dollars, I think it's $60,495, where do those dollars come from?
The 64,000 is the city budget.
Okay, it's in the budget, though. I mean, I'm just.
It is in the
okay.
budget. That is staff and supplies and things that advocacy program uses. So the overall budget is about 114,000.
Yeah.
Right, 24,000 hopefully this year from Summit. It will be the first year since I've been here, and it's been 23 years that they are actually saying that they possibly will give us a 10% increase. And then we also are accounting for the services as well.
Yeah, I just wish to note that item I is the anti-terrorism compliance measures, which just are reflective of the times we live in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ready to vote? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.5 is approval of the MnDOT Aeronautics agreements, and a resolution was distributed this evening for your consideration.
Move to approve the resolution.
Second. Motion by Alan, seconded by Paul. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 7.1 is council concerns.
We'll start with Councilman Thurley.
I have no comments tonight.
Okay. Greg? Jerry?
With the warm weather, a few days ago, started getting phone calls that the hammocks were back down at Veterans Memorial, so I drove down there, and yes, they were. I chose not to get out of my truck to talk to them because I didn't think we needed another short, slightly rotund, gray-bearded Winonan to make the international interwebs. So you didn't need to get a call from Fox News, so I stayed in the truck. But there were two things that was going to take place. One was Veterans Memorial Association was going to change that main sign. That's still undergoing it. It's going to take some drilling and a few other things, so it's going to take a little bit longer. And then the other thing was some signs were going to be put up. So even if the police did go down there was no signs to point to. So none of us made any phone calls. I'm sure all of that will be done by next spring.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Pam?
Nothing for me tonight.
Paul?
Just a reminder to everyone that next week is Manufacturers Week, and there are plant tours going on starting on Tuesday at various plants around the city. And I would suggest that if anybody's interested in attending those plant tours, that they should call the Chamber of Commerce, and they can get the times and places and of when that'll occur. Also had the opportunity last week to meet at the Friendship Center with a Barbara Batasti. She's from the Office of Economic Status of Women, and was discussing economic issues for women in the Winona area and deficiencies that might occur in transportation, housing, et cetera. I'm now on their mailing list, and there was also a person there from the Women's Resource Center and Winona County. And so we had a good discussion, and I think she's the liaison for the state legislature for grant monies and things like that for these programs.
George?
Okay, thank you. Keith, I left you a message today about the power outage on Olmsted Street, what the cause of that was early this morning.
Didn't see the message at this point.
Okay.
I have an answer for that.
Okay, around 1:30 I called you on that, so. Does anybody know what the cause of that power outage
It was
was?
a transformer. I guess.
Transformer?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was told by one of the neighbors.
Okay. And I just have a couple of acknowledgements. First of all, congratulations to Lois and Ted Chaplesky on celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary this past Saturday. And also this past Saturday, Sergeant Kevin Kearney and his wife Sylvia were married, and wish them well as they go forth. And Al, to your wife, your family, on the passing of your mother-in-law.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And under the consent agenda, there's one item, the approval of the minutes from October 3rd.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Al, seconded by Jerry. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.